I see this meeting is being live streamed.
Okay, good. All right. Well, we're live. We are live and we'll start it right at 5 then.
Okay, so you want me to turn this off and until you're ready for the intro of the camera?
That works. Let me
Okay.
just make sure. Yep, I'm live here. And, okay. Hello, everyone. If you're here, great. We're going to get started here in a couple of minutes. Okay. Yes, we're excited to talk to you today. And then, Rebecca, I'm going to tag you here in
Okay.
just a second. Hello, everyone. I hope you are having a wonderful, wonderful Tuesday. There we go. There we go. Okay, I just tagged you on LinkedIn. Tagged you on LinkedIn. I hear myself. It's so cool.
Because I just pulled up. But
It's so cool.
I know, right?
It's so cool. Here we go. Okay, and it should work on Facebook. If it doesn't, I will update it after the show because sometimes it doesn't like me during the show.
Mm.
It is okay. All right. Mm-mm. I don't like that sound.
I see you on Facebook Live.
You do see it?
Mhm. I
Perfect.
just reshared it to my page too.
Wonderful. Okay. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Well, welcome everyone. I have missed you all. Welcome to the Coach's Kitchen, where breakthrough is always on the burner. I'm your host, Leslie Nicole, life coach, motivational speaker, and your favorite soul chef. This is where ambitious women like you come to unpack what's simmering beneath the surface, from purpose to power moves, which we're going to get into today, healing to high stakes leadership, because y'all, this is not fast food healing. It's the slow, sacred work that sticks. Now, y'all ready to get cooking? Because tonight, I said tonight, on this episode of the Coach's Kitchen, I'm excited to welcome the one and only Rebecca Bormann. Girl, where you at? There she is.
Hey!
Round of applause, round of applause. There she is. There
Oh,
she
thank
is.
you. Thank you. Thank you. You're gonna make me blush. I'm excited to be cooking with you.
Oh my God, let's cook, girl. But before we cook, I want to just give a very short introduction. Rebecca is the founder and CEO of RB Consulting Agency. With over 20 years of leadership in sales and marketing, Rebecca helps organizations clarify their brand, elevate visibility, and build sustainable growth strategies. Known for her people first, data driven approach, she's a nationally, not locally, not regionally, I said nationally, recognized leader and the 2025 NAWBO Women Business Owner of the Year. Rebecca,
Yeah,
OMG, welcome to the Coach's Kitchen, girl.
thank you so much. I'm excited to be here and talk with you. We always have so much fun. So I know this is going to be the same.
Do. We do. And it's so interesting. I met you like a couple years ago at a brunch hosted by Jennifer Magley. And I remember
Hmm.
sitting across from you and I was just like, who is this woman? OMG. I was like, she left corporate America where she was selling millions of dollars to like create her own agency. So like, yeah, let's just talk about that.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's
I
just talk
mean,
about
so yes, that's totally true. I had an amazing corporate career until I didn't.
it.
Is
Hmm.
what is kind of what I always say. I worked in for global technology firms for 20 years, selling very complex technology solutions and services to global businesses like across the country. I led teams of 60 plus people. I worked in marketing, business development, direct sales, and it was fun for me. Technology is always changing. So you're always learning
Hmm.
something new. I was never one of those like sales or marketing folks that was like verticalized into like only selling into healthcare or only selling into government or so I was constantly learning about all kinds of different industries and what was
Hmm.
going on with their growth and how they were doing with the economy that's always changing and how do they serve their clients.
Hmm.
And so it was great. At my last corporate job before I started my own agency, um, I led sales and marketing for the organization, was the number one salesperson while also doing some of the leadership roles. I was more than ready to like take the next step, move into, a senior position by title and access to information and salary and all the things that means.
Hmm.
Um, they kept on saying not yet, it's not quite the right time. I believed them and that they wanted to help me grow my career. And after a couple of years, it seemed like it was never going to be the right time. I was kind of starting to catch on. Like they just wanted me to do more work,
Hmm.
but not give me the access that I needed, not give me the title, not give me, the compensation. And um that became very like disheartening, after a while. So I
Yeah.
loved my clients. I loved so many of my teammates, but I just felt like I had hit my head on the not so proverbial glass ceiling for women in male dominated industries like tech and STEM.
Hmm.
And I didn't really know what to do, honestly, because like I said, I really enjoyed my clients. We were selling multi-million dollar long-term contracts. You really got to build relationships, know people. I loved my teams that were serving the clients, my project managers, my service delivery managers, my engineers. And I was like, well, how do I leave all that? And to be really honest, I had built up a very nice commission, right?
That's
To
what I
that.
was like, hold on. I was like, you like gave up like your lifestyle, not really knowing. Well, I shouldn't say gave
Yeah.
up, but you gave up
Yeah.
like the stability of knowing what your lifestyle would look like.
Yes, yeah. I mean, so I had built up like, I
Yeah.
knew the commission I was making for the next 24 months, based off of all the sales that we had closed. And so I decided to start a side hustle, right? IB
Mm.
Consulting was initially a side hustle.
Okay.
And I felt really called to do that. I felt like, okay, this is where I was going to get like some of the passion and fulfillment back. It was going to be some different like opportunities, some different things to learn, some different challenges,
Hmm.
like a break from the like day to day that I had been doing for literally 20 years in like in various like facets. And I said, okay, this is gonna be great. I'm gonna help with some sales training. People are always asking me about sales and what's your approach and how
Mhm.
does it make it different? Like, how do you sell a $500 million, over 20 years in corporate America? Like, you make it look easy. And I really believe it's about like relationships and connection and and problem solving is the foundation. So a good friend of mine said, I can help you with this. Let me help you design a logo and a website. And I said, okay, great. So we were going to do sales training. You run these cohorts, it's going to be
Mhm.
after hours or on the weekends. It didn't like impact my job. I obviously checked all the things with my employment contract and all that sort of stuff. There was no issue.
Mhm.
Not to mention that the senior leaders, all of whom happen to be like white males in their 50s to 60s, they all had consulting side hustles.
Yeah.
So I'm like, cool. So I launched the company, initially had, support from the organization, including my boss, the CEO. And then all of a sudden I didn't. Then all of
Got
a
it.
sudden
So
it was a problem.
that's where the shift happened.
Yes. Then all of a sudden it was a problem. Then all of a sudden it was, you can't do this. This is a bad look, all sorts of
Mhm.
things. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like everybody else is doing it. This is
Mhm.
besides the fact. Like, while I've been doing this role and being super successful, I was also the president of Women in High Tech, a nonprofit organization. I served on these other boards. A couple of those, a couple of those engagement commitments had like I was done. I did my tenure and it was time to move on. So I'm like, clearly,
Mhm.
like, I have the capacity to do this and something
Right.
else like really well. And honestly, this is way easier than running a nonprofit that's done, that's led by all volunteers, and a volunteer board of
Mhm.
directors. There was a lot of back and forth. And the short answer is I was given an ultimatum. Like, you can either do this or do that. You can do your company or you can do this job. You can't do both. And I said, well, I already made my choice. I'm going to do both. Like, I'm perfectly capable of doing both. This doesn't make
Mhm.
any sense of why I couldn't do both. Honestly, you haven't given me a long enough runway to like prove either one of us being right, unless you look at the tenure that the past 8 years I had done more than one job successfully. And they said, there's the door.
Mm.
And I said, okay.
Okay.
Yeah. It was 3 days before Christmas 3 years ago, in 2022.
Really?
Um, yeah.
That it was
And I
so
said,
recent.
I'll be 3 years, a full-time entrepreneur as of this past November, this past December.
Oh wow. Okay,
Yeah,
so knowing that, because I was like, I was like, I could have sworn it was longer than 3 years, but 3 years full time.
full-time. Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yeah,
You're killing it.
yeah. Thank you,
Killing
thank
it.
you. Yeah, yeah. And so as soon as the word was out that I was no longer employed by a corporation, the job offers, fell out of the sky, honestly,
Mhm.
to work for some of the largest technology consulting companies on the globe.
Wow.
And something just didn't sit right. Like
Mhm.
that gut feeling, like they were
Mhm.
going to give me time, they were going to give me title, they were going to give me a big bonus. They wanted me to be working on like strategic business development, with a pathway to senior
Mhm.
leadership, right? The pathway that I've heard about before, but something just like in my gut didn't sit right. And I was like, it just feels like more of the same. I was like, I got to figure out how to do something different.
Yeah.
So that's when I went all in, being a full-time entrepreneur. And I think I shared this with you. So
Mhm.
started as a side hustle to really do sales training, right? Found out
Mhm.
pretty quickly I do not want to be a full-time trainer.
Mm.
It's fun to do once in a while, but it's not like I don't want to talk about the same thing over and over again, which is
Mhm.
a lot of times what you do in training. I also found out that, running these like 12-week cohorts where I'm used to having 5, 10, 15,
Mhm.
year relationships with my clients felt really transactional to me. And I
Mhm.
really missed the strategic part of the work that I did, like, the strategic sales and marketing and business development planning.
Yeah.
So, um, pretty quickly, less than a year in, I pivoted to start doing fractional CMO consulting. And
And that's through RB Consulting as well?
yep,
Okay.
yep, yep. So I pivoted to do that. And I said, okay, this is great. I'm working with these business leaders. They're doing great things in the market. They're solving
Mhm.
problems. They've tried everything that they know how to grow faster or grow bigger.
Yeah.
Um, it hasn't really worked. That's not their area of expertise.
Hmm.
And it was great. I found out pretty quickly then that I can put together a strategy plan, but in order for it to be impactful, somebody has to implement it. And many of these small business owners had, maybe a salesperson or two, or maybe they had a marketing coordinator, but they didn't
Hmm.
have the full skill set to do, a strategic marketing plan. So, I mean, we're talking web developers, graphic designers, digital media
Hmm.
experts, all that sort of stuff. So we started building a team so we could not only put together the strategy, we could also execute the plans for
Hmm.
our clients. So today,
So how big is your
uh,
team?
11. We have 11 folks
In
today.
3 years.
Yeah.
That is like mind-boggling to me because I'm just like, how? Like,
Yeah.
did you have investors? Like, did you just build
No.
from the ground up? Did
Bootstrap.
you? Wow.
Bootstrap. No. Yeah. I mean, the how is faith, right? Is
Mhm.
like not having a single clue about what I was going to really do, but trusting like that feeling and taking that step that I could see in front of me. I
Mhm.
mean, like I shared, in 3 years, like what I thought this consulting company can be is not what it is at all.
Mhm.
But I know that we're on the right path because we keep on getting opportunities to serve more
Mhm.
clients. We
Mhm.
get opportunities like with you to like share our story, which hopefully, gives somebody some kind of hope if they're in a
Mhm.
situation where they're not feeling fulfilled at their job anymore, that they can make a change. And that doesn't have to look like entrepreneurship. It could
Right.
look like a new role, a new company, starting a side hustle, all those things. But I think it's about like sometimes we want to see the plan from beginning to end. And I
Mhm.
don't know that that's the way that God always works. He might give us a step or two, and we just got to trust that it's going to, he'll reveal the next step as we need it. And that's the biggest advice I could give to any person making a big change. Like, go with your gut and do the steps
Mhm.
that you know now. Like, once those are complete, more will
Yeah.
be revealed.
It's so interesting you say that because I was talking, I don't remember if it was my life coach or my therapist because I have both. And so they just kind of like
Mm,
intertwined. Um, and one of them asked me, like, so what is your plan this year? Like, what are your goals? And it's like, I know what they are. I was like, but I don't even know, I don't know like how it's going to happen, So I just feel like I was like, right now it's just about leaning in, like
that's right.
literally leaning in and praying and being like, okay, what am I supposed to be doing today? What am I supposed to be doing this week? And literally taking it like it's literally a stepping stone journey. And I can't say, that's easy because I like to have plans and I like to know, like be in control and I like to put everything on my calendar and I like my to-do list. And I don't know that this journey, especially the one that you just talked about, is plannable.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. I mean, I believe we're supposed to have visions, we're supposed to
Right.
have some goals. I
Absolutely.
think that we need to be flexible, that they
Hmm.
can change, and like success can't be defined by just hitting these goals that we made out. We have to be able to adapt the goals.
Right.
And I think plan out what you can, but be open to like pivoting
Hmm.
and think the plan will unfold, eventually.
Hmm. Hmm. So what made you, because you say you talk about like people first. So what
Mm,
made you say, okay, this is how I'm going to run my business?
yeah,
Like
that's a great
was
question.
it your experiences before? Like what was it?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a few combinations of things, right? I
Hmm.
mean, I kind of mentioned like I really believe in like a relationship based like selling and problem solving. I think I think a lot of the business world gets it wrong. They start by talking all about themselves. They start
Mhm.
talk about all these features and bells and all these different things and whatever their product or service is
Mhm.
before they even really understand if their offering is a match for the person that they're
Mhm.
talking to, right? So when I say people first, I mean, the humans within my organization, but the humans that we're serving and the humans that they're serving, right? It's really all about how do we connect with ideal clients, right? So who we really who do we really build this offering for to serve, and why is it valuable to them,
Right.
and not why I think RB Consulting is
Mhm.
important, or why you
Mhm.
think, Nicole, Leslie Nicole, speaks is like important, but what's the value that is providing to the ideal clients that you serve? So, and it's about like understanding that first before we start putting a whole bunch of stuff out into whatever, the marketing and sales world, if you will, both like digitally and personally. So it's like, how do we come from this place of like providing value, from being a problem solver, from being a
Mhm.
helper, instead of, hey, I want to sell you something?
Mhm. Mhm.
Because I mean, we're all in it to make money, right?
Mhm. You got to
And
live. You got to eat.
yeah, and if we operate from this place of like wanting to do good, wanting to do better, wanting to leave a mark, like to me, that's abundance, right? Like
Mhm.
the selling becomes a lot
Mhm.
easier when
Mhm.
when you're starting from a position of like give instead of take.
Mhm. So to some people, they may be thinking, okay, 3 years, 11 employees or 11-person team, sustainable growth, making sure that we, make money because we got to live, we got to eat. So, in plain terms, how do you grow without running yourself or your team in the ground, like making it like a whole burnout situation and really focusing on that people first, like you just talked about?
Ooh, I think that's such a great question. And I follow a lot of different, entrepreneurs and,
Hmm.
big, like John Maxwell, Patrick Lencioni, Mark Cuban,
Yep.
all like, Kendra Scott, Sarah Blakely, all these kind of folks. And the one of the biggest pieces of advice when they're like, what do you have? Like, what's your one piece of
Hmm.
advice, when you want to build a company? It's like surround yourself with people who are smarter than you, that have different skills than you, that do things better than you.
Hmm.
So that's it. Like build a team
Hmm.
that you're excited to work with, that's going to help me grow and develop, that
Hmm.
has different areas of expertise. And then like you, I mean, like I have a personal and professional board of directors that
Hmm.
are folks that have built companies and sold and exited, that are like, my faith and spiritual advisors, that are, friends, that are experts in different things, and ask for help. Like I think
Hmm.
I'm pretty smart, but I know part of that is that I don't know that I have all the answers, right? But I know people that do, right? So go ask them. I think that's one of the biggest things to building a scalable organization and not burning yourself out. I don't try and do everything. I'm not good at everything. I don't
Hmm.
want to be good at everything.
Well, that's smart though, because I mean, we all have different gifts and talents, right? So, I
Yeah.
mean, what have we been called to do? And so we need to lean into what we've been called to do and then lean on our brothers
Yeah.
and sisters to help us grow.
That's right.
Yeah.
Have you heard, I know there's like a million of the different like personality assessment
Hmm.
tests out there, but have you heard of Working Genius? It's relatively new
I
in the
know that
last
one.
like, okay. I'm pretty sure it's Patrick Lencioni who created this, and it's really centered around avoiding burnout, right? And teams
Hmm.
working together. And that there's
Hmm.
essentially six general buckets of zones of genius. Each of us have two zones of genius. When we're working in that area, we literally get energized and fueled up from that. We have
Hmm.
all have like two zones of competency, meaning like we can do the work, we might even be excellent at it, but we're not gaining any energy. So we can only
Hmm.
work on those kind of tasks or activities for so long. And then the last couple buckets are your working zones of frustration. Those are
Hmm.
literally like the areas that suck the life out of you from doing that
Hmm.
kind of work. So I think it's really important to know that about ourselves, and
Yeah.
then to like understand that about our team. too.
It's so it's like everything that you're saying, I'm just like, huh. I literally just had a conversation yesterday with a friend of mine, and she was just talking about like, is it time for me to go next? Like, what am I good at? All these different things, and we start talking about um talents versus skills, and I feel like that, or I should say gift. The gifts are like that first
Mm-hmm.
bucket that you just talked about. The second layer is more like the skills. Like I could do this, but like, okay, this is getting my nerves. But then it's like, I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
I don't want to do
Yeah.
it. That is
Yeah.
so interesting.
So you'll love it.
I need to
I
look that up.
recommend it like 10 out of 10. You can go, it's working zones of genius.com or something.
Okay.
The assessment is, I don't know, it takes you maybe 20 minutes to take it. It's $20. And then it gives you
Worth
this
it.
really nice like report, that helps you understand like what does this mean for you? What does it mean when you
Mhm.
interact with other people that are, the same or different from you?
Mhm.
So I learned
Huh.
that my zones of genius are discernment and galvanization. So I like it when somebody has an idea, I can see how to make it happen. Kind of
Right.
makes sense in marketing and sales,
Mhm.
right? And
Yep.
galvanization, like the cheerleading, the spreading the message. I'm
Mhm.
like, no wonder I
It makes
picked
sense.
the career that I did and now have a marketing agency.
I mean, that was an aha. That is so interesting. I'm gonna have to share that with my friend. So anyway, okay.
Yes.
So let's talk about um your hard days. Let's talk
Mm,
about the hard days. Like, I know, you've had like instrumental and insurmountable growth in 3 years. To be quite honest with you, when I met you, I was like, she's been in the game for like 10 years. I mean, granted, you've been doing, but I just knew that this company was like 10 years old. So anyway, but what happens on those days? Like, how do you continue to press? How do you continue
yeah.
to encourage and motivate your team? And they may know what's going on too. They may not know what's going on. So how do you continue to just keep going and stay focused?
Yeah. I mean, this is such a complicated question.
It's a
In the
complicated, it's
yeah,
no,
in the
there's no
like
right answer. So,
in the best way. I have to say faith, right, is
mhm,
the first of that list. Like if without my faith, without my relationship with God, I don't think any of this happens. And I definitely
mhm,
think the hard days are harder and more frequent, right?
mhm,
So there's something to like surrendering that and just asking for like, give me the next step that you want me to take, sort of
mhm,
thing. I think communication is huge. I love this phrase like radical transparency, right?
mhm.
So doesn't mean you have to tell your whole life story to
Yeah.
to somebody, but particularly with your team, your clients, your business partners, be transparent, about what's
Mhm,
going on. I heard on a YouTube video, or I don't know, maybe a TikTok, something like this
mhm.
description of what radical transparency is versus like not lying. you know and so I'll use this example really quick. It's like has to do with kind of like a romantic relationship, right? So you think, okay, I'm going to call my boyfriend and say, hey, I'm going out after work, right? We're going to go have some drinks, whatever.
Mhm.
True, right? Didn't really lie, but like radical transparency is like calling my boyfriend after work and saying, hey, I'm, going out after work. We're going out
Mhm.
with some coworkers, like a couple of my girl coworkers are going to be there, but there's probably going to be like a bunch of single men there too that are
Just that little
maybe
part.
trying to flirt with me.
Mm.
So like if
Quite
that's
possible.
the situation, right? But how oftentimes do we like leave out that other part when we know
Mhm.
like that's the case? I'm not saying you have to say every time there's gonna be single people around if you're in a relationship, but like if it's one of those situations where like they're like, oh, you didn't tell me so and so was coming, maybe you should
Right.
just say that part up front when you know it's happening. So I say, so I really worked to practice radical transparency in all of my relationships. That means sometimes having a hard conversation with an
Mhm.
employee when something isn't going right, sometimes having a difficult conversation with a business partner. I mean, we collaborate with all kinds of different businesses to serve our clients. We
Right.
have to be radically transparent when something didn't go right. And it
Mhm.
also means like being radically transparent for clients. sometimes even in the 3 years that we've been working together, sometimes it feels like it's going to be a fit up front, working together. And 6 months down the road, they just want to work in a way that we can't serve them, or they need something that we can't do. And it means having this tough conversation about, this is great. I love what you're doing. Like, I love your mission. I love your work. We operate in this sort of structure.
Yeah.
And for us to serve you, um, that's what has to
Mhm.
happen. If that doesn't work for you, there's some other options where, they're really looking for maybe staff augmentation. We can't,
Mhm.
that's not how we're set up to operate. We're set up to operate as an agency in a certain, bucket of hours and scope of, services over the course of our agreement. If they want someone they can
Mhm.
just call every day and say, hey, I need you to do ABC, that's staff augmentations,
Mhm.
and say, hey, you should talk to some of these people. So
Mhm.
I think that avoids some of the really bad days, if you're willing to just kind of hit those uncomfortable conversations sooner rather than later,
Mhm.
if you will. And just, talk from your heart, be kind, be authentic, make sure you look at all sides of the situation, invite collaboration and thought. Like, just because I thought this was the answer, maybe they have something else that's better, but like, be open about that.
Mhm.
And I think it's so important to schedule time for yourself
Yes.
in your schedule, whatever that means for you. For me, like, I get a massage at least once a month. I go to my esthetician once a month. I make time to have um, drinks with my girlfriends, or go visit
Mhm.
my sister, or go on some dates, but so to make time for that,
Yep.
and I'll schedule that on my calendar just like I schedule everything else. And I do,
Yep.
and it's not the last thing. It might not be the first thing, but it's not the
Mhm.
last thing that I book either.
Yeah.
um and for me, travel is really big. I think it's one of the
It
biggest ways that you
is. I
can,
love seeing
yeah,
your Instagrams.
expand your mind and expand your heart, right? I always like come back from a new travel experience with different perspectives, new ideas. So for me, avoiding those really hard days, or not avoiding, that's the wrong word, but trying to make sure I have as few as possible.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, having some travel booked throughout the year is really important for me for that too.
Yeah.
And ask for help. There's days where I have no idea what I'm doing. I have encountered a situation that's a completely, foreign to me.
Mhm.
I don't try to have all the answers, but I try to figure out who might have them and
Yeah.
go get some insight.
And there's a lot of you help a lot of startups and mid-sized companies, right?
Yeah.
So, and you work across a variety of industries.
Yes.
Are you still with the startup ladies, that membership
Yes. I'm on their
organization?
board of directors.
Okay, okay. So you're with
Yeah.
them. So let's talk about like just a little bit. Let's go like a little bit deeper, like into like strategy. So there are so many women, especially, that have started businesses in the past 5 years. Like COVID was just like everybody, because people were getting laid off, whether it be fired, whether it be things happening in the past year because of government, whatever it is. A lot of women have had to or have chosen to start businesses.
That's right.
So when it comes to growth, I would say, what's one challenge you see with them? And then also on the flip side of that, like, what do you tell women that are just like, I don't know that I can really do this. I don't have an MBA. Like, I didn't study for this. Like, what do I do?
Mm, mm, good question. Um,
I didn't mean to stump you.
no, I'm just trying. You ask such good, complex questions, but I mean, like, but life is complex, right?
Life is
And part of
complex,
it is like,
and they're thinking these things like they're just
yes.
like, I,
And that's
I
why we
know.
need coaches like you to help us disseminate through like all the complexities of
Yeah.
life. Um, I mean, my gut reaction is to tell you, well, I didn't have an MBA when I started this business either, so you don't
Mhm.
need that. Um, I have MBA certifications from the Keller School of Business now. I was blessed to go through a program through Mid-States called Accelerate A100, and
Okay.
they
Yeah.
part of that program is we got executive certifications in business strategy,
Oh.
in financial management, in sales and marketing, and also in leadership. So say that to say is use your resources that are
Mhm.
available to you if you're not
Mhm.
sure where to start, or you're needing, if maybe you're an engineer, so
Yeah.
you want to start your own business, so you need to learn about financial management and business development and marketing and an overall growth strategy. There's a lot of resources out there available to us as women
Mhm.
and minority women entrepreneurs, even still today. Like there's lots that you can find. I had to
Mhm.
throw that in there for the people that know they know. um but organizations like, NSMDC, the Startup Ladies, Mid States, um those are, and Boss Network. There's so many different
Mhm.
organizations out there. You got to do the legwork to find them, right? Use Google,
Mhm.
use Chat GPT, ask your entrepreneur or your business friends that have been around, like, where can I go learn about this?
Mhm.
It's, you don't have to go spend 30 grand and get, a master's in whatever
Mhm.
necessarily,
Necessarily.
right? Yeah. So use your resources. And then I think the other thing is figure figure out how to build your board of directors for your business, right?
Mhm.
That might be a different board of directors than when you were in
Mhm.
corporate or a stay-at-home mama or whatever the case may be. You might have to go network and meet some new people. And and
Wow.
and if you're going to be a business owner, get comfortable doing that.
Yeah.
Like, you might be really uncomfortable doing it, but get comfortable. The best
Yeah.
way to get rid of discomfort is to do something and to do something again and again
Mhm.
and again until it becomes comfortable. But if
Mm.
you're afraid to talk to people, you're going to have to figure that out if you're going to own a business. At least in the beginning, I don't know too many businesses that are funded enough that the founder doesn't have to be the primary seller in the
Yeah.
beginning.
Yeah. Now, is there anything about branding that you would tell a new business owner and or, maybe that someone that's been in the business like 3 to 5 years? So what is there anything about branding specifically that you would say this is like the thing that you need to do?
Yeah, I would say two things off the top of my head. One, it's really less about what you like and more about what's going to resonate with your ideal clients. So how do you create a brand that way? And the second thing is keep it simple.
Mm.
Don't overcomplicate it.
Mm-hmm.
And a third thing that I would say is branding is far more than just your logo and your colors. A big part of branding is the message, which is
Mm-hmm.
so important. So what is your value proposition for your ideal clients? What's the value you provide? What's the transformation that your ideal clients see on the other side of working with you?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's really important to
Mm-hmm.
think about and have brand messaging that talks about what's the challenge that you solve, what's the problem that you solve for people, what's the other side look like, do they save money, do they run faster, do they learn
Mm-hmm.
how to brand, do they have extension, extra capacity and skills on their team, whatever that is. But the messaging, I would advocate, is more important than the
Mm-hmm.
colors and the logo and like, all of that should support,
Right.
like the imagery should support the message.
Yes. But not that should not necessarily be the focal point. Really should
Yes.
be focusing on the message.
Like, you might love cats, but that doesn't mean you should have a cat in your logo. We've seen some things, Leslie.
That's so
We've seen some things.
funny. Oh my gosh, that is so
And if your
funny.
business has nothing to do with providing supplies or care or something for a cat, maybe
Mm-hmm.
not a cat.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we stuck on it has to be a cat sort of thing?
Yeah, yeah. So also in your bio, you talk about emotional intelligence. So you talk about
Yes.
emotional intelligence and data strategies and or data-driven
Yeah.
strategies. So someone actually commented on one of my LinkedIn posts today, and he said, how do you infuse emotional intelligence into data strategies? Let's learn together. So I was just wondering, maybe you could just share
Yes.
your tidbit of insight.
Yes, I would love that. Okay, so it's definitely an and emotional intelligence and data strategies, right? So
Hmm.
if you've ever heard of Dr. Robert Cialdini, he's like the leading, I always get it wrong if it's a psychologist or sociologist, but one of those things that has just he's spent almost 40 years now focusing on why do people say yes,
Mm.
right? So, what are the psychological influencers and factors of why people would say yes? Super important in sales and marketing and growing a business, right?
Hmm.
He's got 8 principles now. I won't bore you with rattling them off. Anybody can go Google it and look it up. But the emotional intelligence is thinking about these different strategies and the psychological reasons of why people say yes and why they need things like credibility and authority and likability and unity and um also learning that things like scarcity, those kind of principles can actually work against why people would say yes.
Hmm.
And also using technology that we have today, right? We can monitor our websites and our social media and our digital ads and our email open rates, right? So we use that data to
Hmm.
make decisions on what's working and not working. But as we're crafting our message, as we're crafting our brand, as we're crafting our brand story, think about the psychological factors and how we're going to use those in an authentic and meaningful way to attract our ideal clients.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
it works together. And you can think about even like, if you're going to have some different subject lines in your email, right? You might have a subject line that really enforces the credibility
Mhm.
lever of decision making, and you might have another subject line that really focuses on the likability, right,
Yeah.
of lever in decision making. Well, then we can use the data from our email marketing tools to figure out like how did those resonate? What were the open
Mhm.
rates? Did people on the East Coast really like the credibility one? And people in the South really like the likability ones? And so then we can start to tailor our marketing strategy based on the different segments within our ideal client audience.
Y'all, you need to just hire Rebecca. That's what y'all need to do
Thank you.
because
Thanks so much.
I'm like, what she just said, I'm like, yeah, you just need to go hire her so that way she can map all that out for you and make you look amazing and get you some sales. Okay.
But that's like, the emotional intelligence plus the data. People actually
Yeah.
ask me that all the time because
Oh,
it
really?
it feels like they should be separate things. Like
Right.
you can't be data and human at the same time. But
Should be.
like
Yeah.
what's the problem,
Right.
right? We can't be have data and be human at the same time. Like we're all in for big trouble. That's like, I don't know, the Terminator movie and like the ending of the world scene or something. Like, especially because when we start talking about generative AI and chat GPT, like
Hmm.
one of the biggest misnomers is that it knows everything. No, you have to train it. It literally
Hmm.
learns from you. So you have to teach it the human elements.
Yes.
What you can go figure out the math and the science and the data. You have to teach it the human parts of your story, your brand, your personality, your company, your team, all that sort of stuff.
Wow. So you've had, quite a bit of recognition, especially in the past 3 years for your business. How do you celebrate without
Mm,
letting the titles or awards become your identity?
yeah, they're not. They're not my identity. I
Mhm.
I am flattered, I am humbled, I am like honored. I appreciate it. Um, but it's definitely not my identity. And I celebrate by spending time with my loved ones and going on trips.
Mhm.
I
I
identify as someone
mean,
who loves to travel. I
that's
don't know that
it.
I really identify as like the
Yes.
NAWBO Businesswoman Owner of the Year. Like I appreciate it, and I could give you like 50 other names that should be that too.
Yeah. Yeah. So if someone listening, they feel stuck, right? They feel stuck. They're busy. They're visible. They don't know what to do. They're not moving forward. They're not getting the sales. What's one simple shift, just one, that you tell them to start with this week. It's Tuesday, y'all. It's Tuesday.
Yeah.
At least when this was recorded. But
Evaluate your messaging. Are you laundry listing what you do or your features or services or saying all the things that you do? Or are you talking about the transformation that you bring to the people that you're working with?
oh, say that one more time. That was good. Say that one
Are
more
you
time.
talking about the transformation for the people that you're working with?
Mm-hmm.
That's what you really want to do. And that is not what the business has like the business, economy system has
Right.
really trained people to do. It's trained people to be like, this is like such a gross exaggeration, but think of like back in the day
Transformation
when
for
you
the
were
people
in
that you're
like
working. So
we're
sorry.
in like New York and they would have like the knockoff watches in their coat,
Mm-hmm.
right? They're like, I got Rolex, I got Gucci, I got whatever. What do you want? Like
Mm-hmm.
people that's not what we do. We don't like say I've got website development, I've got social media, I've got branding. Like, what do you want?
Mm-hmm.
It's the what happens when those things are in alignment and what's the difference it makes for our clients then. And the difference
Wow.
is increased visibility, really talking to like the right people that you're selling to
Mm-hmm.
and like growing your revenue. It's about making sales easier.
Mm-hmm. I love it. Rebecca, I it's been 45 minutes, which is hard to
Mm,
believe.
it went by fast.
I mean, we can talk forever. But how can people stay connected with you and continue, their journey beyond tonight's conversation? How can they find you?
Thank you for asking. Thank you. The easiest way is go to our website. It's super simple. It's rbcgrowth.com. At the
Okay.
very top, it says subscribe to our bi-monthly newsletter. This is not spam. We're not trying to sell you anything, but twice a month, it's 2 Saturdays a month. We put out a newsletter that talks about marketing and sales trends. Talks about sales tips. It features some of the cool clients that we're working with. It talks about industry events. Sign up for that. It's a great piece of content to stay in the loop with what's going on there.
Yeah, yeah. Is there anything else you want to share about what's coming up next for you or your business or just anything that we didn't touch on that you just want to make sure the listeners know?
Yeah. Um, we're excited to continue to grow our team and serve more clients this year. If you need hope beyond the newsletter, you can also schedule some time on the website to have a chat with me and tell me what's going on. I'm always happy to listen and be a thought partner. And other than that, just remember, I would say to everyone, just like remember, like what you think, like especially around sales and marketing, like that matters. So, we
Mhm,
want to operate from a place of abundance versus a place of
mhm.
scarcity.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight on the Coach's Kitchen. Thank you to everyone else for pulling up a seat to the Coach's Kitchen. If today's conversation stirred something in you, share this episode and tag me at Leslie Nicole Speaks and or tck.live on Instagram. And what are your social media handles, Rebecca? Where can they find you?
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you, Leslie, so much for having me on here. This was so much fun. Thanks for everybody who joined us. We're on LinkedIn, we're RBC Growth, and I lied. On LinkedIn, we're RBC Consulting, and on the other platforms, we're RBC Growth. So pretty easy to find.
Well, fantastic, fantastic. So yeah, so contact Rebecca. You can also reach out to me. I do offer one-on-one customized coaching for women, really trying to find your or refine your identity. You don't have to stay stuck. We can uh, uns move from stoppable to unstoppable. We want to make sure that you are thriving. So let's redefine your next chapter together. Rebecca, Leslie, Nicole, we're here for you. But yes, so I think we're live next week. I have a great guest for you again. But remember that this is the Coach's Kitchen where wholeness gets cooked slowly. It doesn't happen overnight, but your breakthrough is on the way, sister. So you're always welcome here. Until next time, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Thanks again, Rebecca. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Appreciate you.